Hello, my name is Renee L. Rose. I'm the founder of Explore Art Talk. With Explore Art, our featured guests, we have meaningful conversations celebrating artistic and cultural diversity that makes our world extraordinary. So sit back, relax, and check out our content. Thank you for joining us today. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. I think my name is listed wrong. I think it's listed. I'm supporting my union.
Yeah, it is. I was like, what is that?
University Professionals of Illinois.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know they had a union.
Oh yeah, no, we're a state school, state university.
Oh, you're a
So
state. Yeah, right, right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, so we went on strike last year. We were without a contract for like 3 years. So finally,
Oh, poor professors.
right? I know.
Well,
We
I went
got
to
our
the University of Chicago, so their contract, they don't have a union. They don't
no,
need to pay too much money.
no, they have a union, but yeah, they were like, I think one of the last public universities to get their contract. So
No, I'm
anyway,
saying the University of Chicago, not the
oh,
University.
no, yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
private. Yeah,
yeah, but I do understand. Yeah, you
yeah.
guys deserve it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I am
I'm just
awesome.
enjoying this beautiful day.
Are you still on vacation?
No, we actually the pictures that I posted were from Joshua Tree were from maybe about 3 weeks ago. We took
Oh,
a trip over
wow.
there. We always wanted to go. One of our goals is always to before our daughter goes off to college, the plan was to visit all the national parks, but
Yeah.
the older she gets, things are a little tighter, so our schedules
Yeah.
are it's hard to kind of work it in. So we barely got a weekend. And so we flew into California and spent about a week in Southern California, Joshua Tree and all that. And
Yeah, I like Southern California. That's what I like
oh, I
better.
know.
I don't really like, I'm not too keen of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I always wish that my father, when he moved to this country, he would have moved to California, like the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Like in the 70s, it would have been more affordable.
I like Malibu.
Oh
San
gosh,
Diego's nice.
San Diego, I love. I mean, I've never been there, but I
It's
from what I see,
beautiful.
it's
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. It's beautiful. But
Yeah.
it's real, California's really changed a lot. So I haven't been to San Diego and Malibu in like 7 years. So
Okay.
it's probably different right now, I'm
Hmm.
sure.
Oh yeah, it's more expensive for sure.
Yes.
Hmm.
So why don't you start off telling me, because you have a fascinating career, how you got into art, becoming an artist?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those kids in it really started in high school where I was really bored, with high school. And I think I hit a plateau maybe in junior high when I really loved school, like my wife and I we were just talking about how I really my favorite subject in middle school and junior high was biology. I loved biology. And
Yeah.
those I think maybe seventh grade, that's when I got A's. And it was all downhill from there. Once I got to high school, I was just like bored out of my mind. And the
Yeah.
thing that really fascinated me the most was art. And so I remember like my junior year, I started getting into art. And then finally my senior year, I wanted to I could either, I had all my credits and all that. It doesn't mean that I was a straight A student, not at all. I was just kind of lost. But art was a thing that I really loved. And so, but I still had all my credits and I could either graduate early and I decided, well, I'm just going to stay and take some art. And from then on, I really loved it. Like my senior year was the year that I started, really appreciating art and doing it. But it still was never something that I was going to like make a career out of it. Um, I still think, sometimes sometimes I look back in my life, and I shouldn't complain because I have a very privileged life. Everything that I've accomplished thus far has been amazing. And but I kind of wonder, like my counselors were not that they were not that good.
Yeah,
They really
yeah.
didn't steer me to
Yeah, I
like,
think
oh,
back
make
then
this
they were, yeah, I agree with you. Unless you were certain places, they kind of just like, okay, you're not in trouble, so just move along.
exactly. So even though love was art was one of my loves, and I really appreciated and I liked doing it. Um, After I graduated high school, I was just like didn't know where to go. So I started working in fast food. That was like my first job was fast food. And my dad always instilled in us, like work ethic, right? So I started when I was 15 and a half working at Brown's Chicken, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Tastes
and
good. Tastes
yeah,
better.
no, so then they had to let me go because I was too young. I didn't have a work permit or something like that. So I had to reapply when I was 16. So
Okay.
I was there 3.5 years, and I was a co-manager by the time I left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, I don't know if this is what I want to do, like I had been out of college for a year. I mean, out of high school for a year, and so I was working fast food, and I was a manager, and it was, I mean, I was making decent money, like as a young manager. It was rough though because I grew up in Joliet, and
Oh,
yeah, I don't know, that was not. I quickly realized, this is not what I want to do.
yes.
So I decided to enroll in a community college.
Hmm.
And just concentrated on art. And I really my approach, and something that I tell my students nowadays too, is like my approach was just I was really just into my classes, especially my art classes,
Oh,
I left high school and I felt like I was really behind in my general education stuff, but art was the thing that I really focused on, and I really was not worried about how I was going to make a living, my career and things like that. I mean, I suppose with my experience as a manager at a fast food restaurant, I could always get a job doing that, right? But I think once I started community college and Joliet Junior College, I decided just to like go all in, and
so
take.
in high school, did you have the kind of talent you have now? Were you really good at it naturally?
No, well, I mean, I think it's one of those things you kind of develop, right? So, like when I first started, my brother was actually very much more talented.
Okay.
My brother's like kind of talented, we draw and stuff like that. And so I was still not, I could not, I was still finding myself. Like I was okay. There were
Okay.
better students, than me when we were in high school. Uh,
Oh,
but I mean, it was a great program because we had two art teachers, which is probably unheard of nowadays. I don't know. So it was great, and I think there I really learned um just to do it, like to experience it. And once I was in junior college and I had some great teachers there, including Steve Sherrill and Joe Milosevic,
yeah.
I felt like I had a lot more freedom, so
Yeah.
it
He's an
wasn't
amazing person.
say that again.
Steve is an amazing person.
Yeah. And
Good
so like
mentor.
there, they taught me a lot of things, but I felt I also had a lot of freedom to just explore what I wanted to do, So I think I credit that experience. And then I went on to Governor State University and I had a great
Oh,
professor there, Joyce Morishta. And again, she was kind of like the kind of professor that gave me a lot of insight about the art world, and just she was an expert in art history, so I learned so much from her about that. But as far as like making, like it was like freedom to just explore whatever you wanted to explore. I was not hindered with any like rules that you had to follow, whether doing figurative art or abstract art, so for me it was like this just great freedom to like find myself, find ways to communicate, and making art. And so I was in school for like forever, and my goal always was, well, I need to like really wrap it up by the time I'm 30, and
hey.
um, with my terminal degree. And again, I kind of ignorance is bliss. I just enjoyed being in the studio making art, being around other students, being around with my
So what
teachers.
type of art were you making? What were some of the mediums you were doing and what were
A
you,
little bit of everything, like I was never stuck to one thing. I always experimented with a lot of mixed media, mostly acrylic at the undergraduate level.
okay.
Like as far as like imagery, I was doing things that were kind, I guess you can call it surrealism, I guess. I don't know. It's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
realism, but not, and abstraction. And most of all, I think I enjoyed my experiences in college was just exploring materials, and
Oh,
yeah, and just like trying all different kinds of things, see what happens, and I love that idea. And that's something that I still teach my students. That like it's like to me, it's the learning should be about discovery, that you obviously you know some rules and some ways of doing things, but also explore, so that you might break new ground and you might find something about yourself that you enjoy or you want to explore more or whatever, and so for me it was like that freedom just to kind of explore materials. So I was using acrylic, I was using a little bit of oil, but mostly acrylic and mixed media, and I was doing sculpture and painting and
mm,
drawing. And then once I finished so I got a once I transferred actually from Joliet Junior College to Governor State, and I got a BA and an MA at Governor State. And then my professor Joyce, she was like, "Well, maybe you should like um get an MFA." And I'm like, "Okay." So again, kind of just not even. I'm like, "Okay, that's what you normally do is get an MFA, if you want a degree." And so again, kind of just um naive, I guess you could say. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And so I went off to Northern Illinois University to get my MFA.
mm.
And there I met some, again, great teachers. There's always another point that I like to make is that, and I tell my students this also, it's like you never know what you're going to learn from everybody, even the
Good.
professor you're afraid of, or you just think you cannot, learn anything from because they're doing things completely different than you, blah blah blah. It's like you learn so much. And so there was professors there that um I kind of thought I would never really fit in with them just because their work was very different than mine, and but those were some of the teachers that I probably learned the most, and uh so like, oh, I always tell people, always tell my students, and including myself, and I've always been true to that. It's like just keep an open mind, keep an open mind, be willing to learn new things, um, never burn any bridges, like that kind of stuff, just so that you never know. You never know what tidbit of information is going to prove useful, or like might inspire you later on or something like that. So I've always, been the person that kept in contact with my former professors, from Steve and Joe and Joyce and some of my faculty at NIU. But yeah, so I went there and I got my MFA in 3 years, and then I finally graduated in 2002 with my MFA. And then after that, it's like, okay, so what do I do now? And thankfully, the year before I graduated, my professor at Governor State, she asked me if I would teach one of her drawing classes, a figure drawing. And of course, I was like afraid. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I've never, I mean, I've taught little workshops here and there.
Or were you
And
good at figurative drawing?
well, once I started college, then everything kind of like snowballs, right? That you feel like, oh, I can do this or I can do that, So it's kind of like a discovery, self-discovery, right? That you're
Oh,
experiencing all these things, and then you realize, oh, I have a knack for that, And then
some
once you kind
people,
of,
I mean, the reason why I'm asking, because I'm an artist, but I've never went to school to be an artist. I had a whole different career. And I know some people that are artists that never took a lot of formal classes, but they're brilliant. So how do you know you're good at a certain, medium? Is it because of the way you feel? Obviously the outcome, because I've seen some of your figurative work. I mean, it's really good, but just because you take a class, does that mean you'll be good at it?
well, I think it's taking the class, but also like with everything else, it's all about practice, right? Like
Oh, okay.
the more you do it, and the more that you don't settle, like the more that you're eager to learn more
Okay.
and perfecting this and changing this and doing better, you'll get better, and
Oh, wow.
I always like I always again I'm always I'm not now that I'm a dad, I'm always for my students, I always tell them it's like music. Music is about practice, right? And practice makes progress. It's the same thing with art. If you want to be a good figurative drawer, then you need to practice, right? You need to draw from the figure like every day, like learn and then because drawing really is about, I mean, you might have some talent that you're born with, but at the end of the day too is like that practice, and
You're
in that
very generous.
what's that?
I think you're very generous. I think because I love art. I've always loved art. I'm not talented like you are, but I think there's some artists that are just they're brilliant. And there's other artists who went to school and they're just okay. And they do paint a lot. I mean, maybe because you're a professor, but I think some people you just have with you. I mean, maybe it's your spiritual philosophy, which you have very good energy because everything flows with you. Everything's has an ease to it.
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain it, but even like when you major ceramics, I love all the plants. I'm a plant freak, so you have all these plants. I think that's awesome. But you blend that with your art. Everything in your life seems to have a blending and flow.
Mm.
It's nothing rigid. It's not like you're
Mhm.
forcing it. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make
Maybe
sense?
maybe because I'm a Virgo, Virgos, my whole family, we're all Virgos. My wife's a Virgo, my
Wow.
daughter's a Virgo. So I think Virgos just kind of go with the flow,
Oh,
and, and I mean, I guess it depends on how you believe in life, right? That you're positive, you try to be positive. I know things are crazy and it's hard to be positive all the time, but like
yeah.
try to remain positive, and optimistic. And I mean, I don't know. I think there's
I
something
don't
to
know if
that.
you know that, but it shows. It has a certain brand. It has a certain flow to it. It has I don't care what medium is, but it's like a lifestyle you're putting out in art.
Mm,
It's the only way I can explain. It's hard to explain, but if somebody sees your art and gets used to it, they know it's your art.
mm,
They know, and it's just beyond the art. You're resonating a message that
mm.
comes out of
I
it.
mean, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's like maybe just having, I don't know, a connection with everything. And I honestly believe that everything is connected, right? So the
Yes,
work
I
that I
agree.
make, my relationships with people and all of that, and relationship to the earth and things like
Yes.
that. But I'm not like I'm not I don't know, like a fanatic about it either.
No, it's a lifestyle. I mean, that's how my lifestyle is. I'm a plant freak. It's a reason why I like them. I'm connected to them. I feel the energy from them. They give me energy, but I'm not this religious fanatic, but to me, with you, it's how you flow, and
Hmm.
it shows in your daughter. She's very talented.
Thank you. She works hard.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
we,
she's
we again, we're very fortunate that through my life experience, I am where I am. So I was mentioning that my professor Joyce Morishta, she asked me if I wanted to teach her drawing class, and I being afraid, I've always been, and this is a trait that actually I want my daughter not to have, like because I was always like timid, right? Because I feel like I was not going to be good as a teacher. Or so most of the time I was just like stand back and let somebody else go forward, right? So, but this time she asked me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. It's going to be a 2 hour drive from DeKalb to University Park. So, but whatever, I'm going to do it. So I decided to do it, and that
oh,
opened up so many doors, that by the time she ended up retiring, I was there and I applied for the position. It was a national search because of the tenure track position.
oh,
And
oh, wow, nice
so I got it. And so
for you.
it was rough, it was not like an easy thing for me. My background, With my cat, sorry.
Is it a girl or a boy?
It's a boy. His
Oh,
name is Thelonious. 'Cause
oh.
he's a cool cat, like Thelonious Monk.
He's like, what are you talking to? What are you doing? Oh, I love cats.
So yeah, and I think like so okay, I was saying that I ended up no cat butts.
No, that's okay.
So I ended up teaching and then it became like a full-time job, right? So teaching at a university is just such a honor and a privilege that because I teach my classes. I had to teach art history when I first started, which was like very nerve-wracking, right? Because
Wow.
I mean,
That's
my
amazing.
memories of being sitting in art history class was just like, oh my God, I should have paid more attention. Now I'm gonna teach this stuff, and oh my God. So I ended up like basically teaching myself again, like everything that I've learned, just so that I can hold my own, when I had to teach like modern art or something like that. And so I learned so much, and that just informed a lot of my art too, like my thinking and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I always tell my students, make sure you guys read about art history, the major players and things like that. Even if you have to watch documentaries, it's
Yeah.
still a lot of amazing information and a lot of things
Yes.
to learn. And then once you start making, you can have some context, about your own work. There's where do you fit in, with art history and what other artists in the past have done, So um
And it tells you a lot about culture. That's why I like it. A lot
yeah,
about
so
culture.
going back to my daughter, and we're my wife's an artist too. She's a sculptor.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, she's been on hiatus for a while, since we had our daughter, she's really focused on her, and right now she's basically like my daughter's manager.
Oh,
um because
smart.
my daughter's a lot of her musical education really takes up a lot of time. So in the beginning she was homeschooling and things like that. Now she's doing like an online high school. So my wife kind of like helps her like navigate all that time, keep everything on schedule, like
Wow.
rehearsals,
Amazing.
recitals, teachers, and all that stuff. So one of these days she'll get back into it, but yeah, I mean with my daughter's violin playing, it's about practice, and putting in
Yeah,
the time. She has to put in minimum like 4 hours a day,
my goodness.
practicing.
Does she want
So
to be a professional violinist?
to this, I think now she realizes that's what she wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
She's really
I can
good
see
at
it
it,
happening.
and
Yeah.
she has dreams of like, Curtis, Juilliard, those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Good
see, we'll
for
see
her.
what, but there's a lot of schools out there, so she's working hard, and
Yeah.
so, but again, like I was saying, it's just that art is like that too. It's putting in the time, so that you develop your skills and you develop your thinking, and see where it takes you. And I think the biggest thing is just not giving up, that it's hard. I know that um, I have many friends who have day jobs, teaching positions are very scarce, right? So there's a lot of competition. So I know a lot of artists that have day jobs or they teach other places or part-time, but the thing is not giving up. I know that if I was working at the Home Depot just trying to make a living, I would still be making things, still making
Yes.
art. So
Yes.
that's always been like my priority. Even teaching, like I teach my classes, but I spend a lot. I basically live there in the university studio just because
Oh,
like
wow.
once I'm done teaching, I'm gonna work on one of my things, And so my students see me working, and I think that's kind of nice for them to see what I'm working on, and they can ask me questions and stuff like that. So, but again, I'm very um I don't even know if lucky's the word, to be where I am, but it's a lot of work, and having a mindset of like not perseverance and persistence, and not giving up, your thing that makes you happy, which is making art, and you never know where you're going to end up. That's my whole point. That I just approached it in this very kind of naive way. I just love making things and making art, and it was going to be okay,
So
regardless.
Your goal as an artist, have you reached your goals as an artist? Have you shown where you want to show, or is it just about making the art? What have been some of your goals as an artist?
Um, I guess for me, like now it's like trying to be a little bit more selective, like where to show. And I mean, art is all about networking too. And
Yes.
maybe my goal is to do more of that, right? To more networking so that I can show in different venues and things like that. Um, I'll be honest, and I would say probably like everything that's happened to me thus far is it just kind of came to me, that I really didn't have to work hard to like get a show somewhere, that because because of my work, because of the places that I've shown, like opportunities kind of arise, which is really wonderful.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of open like that, to whatever the universe sends my way. So maybe like my goal, and I've been thinking more like my goal is to just get out more and like to meet people. I could be really like a recluse and not go out at all,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and just stay in whether it's at home or in the studio and just make my stuff, right? But I realized too that it's about getting out there, to meet people and stuff like that because I am interested in other people's work and things like that. And I recently was appointed gallery director for the Christopher Art Gallery here in
Oh,
Chicago Heights. So that's going to be like a great opportunity for me to
yeah,
like
it is.
get out there and kind of meet people, to meet other artists and talk to them and to show their work at the college.
Do you have any galleries that represent you?
No, I don't. It was really never a thing that like I felt like the need I had to get,
Yeah.
Obviously it would be amazing if I could find a dealer that really believed in my work and liked my work. And
That's a
um
process too, though.
it is. And again, it's that networking, right? To meeting
Yeah.
people and hopefully, and again, one of those people that I hope my daughter is not like me in the sense that I get kind of like timid and I don't want to like talk to people, and really involves talking to people because again, you never know what could happen, right? So
Yeah,
that's one of
that's
my
true.
goals in the future is kind of just to open up more to like meeting more people and just networking, right? And see what happens. But for me, like it was never like one of those things that I had to do. Again, I
Mhm,
was really content with whatever the universe
mhm,
threw my way. It worked. Obviously I'm very, very fortunate to have my job because I don't have to worry about selling work to make a living or to pay
yeah,
bills and things like that.
yes.
Um, but yeah, it's sometimes it's harder, if you're if that if you don't have like a position that I do where it kind of affords you that privilege of just staying in the studio and making art and that kind of thing. So I guess that would be like a goal of mine to like just go out more and meet people and talk to them about their work, and maybe invite them to show at the gallery that I'm directing now.
Do you find, well, I find that the art world has changed a lot. There's a lot of galleries that have closed in the last, let's say, 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And you still have that 1%, which is Art Basel and the top galleries that represent people. But I think since art is so more on the internet, on Instagram and stuff, don't you think that's changed the dynamics for artists, for visual artists?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You don't think,
Um,
oh, okay. I
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of I don't know. I've never really worry about that stuff or even really think about it.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy with my Instagram page,
It's
where
nice.
I share pictures of my cat, my art, my plants, things like
Plants, yeah.
things that inspire me. So
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is the social media and things like that, excuse me, have really changed, like the whole concept of galleries. I don't know. It's expensive, right? To like run a gallery and um you gotta pay the bills, right? So you gotta get artists and sell their work. So I
Yeah.
mean, I would love the chance to like meet somebody that will represent my work and I'd be happy, 50-50, right? as long as they're able to sell the work, or they can cultivate, a collector base that, hey, they work hard selling my stuff. I'm glad, that 50-50, whatever, so that it's a business, a partnership, right?
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. And I think I'm happy there's people that do that and
Yeah.
provide opportunities for artists to show. So I mean, I would love to have gallery representation, at some point. I think sometimes though, like artists have to do it on their own, right? We did it, me and Sergio and Carla Carr and Kimberly Harmon. We opened up 33 Collective, at the
Hmm.
job. So we had our space, we showed our work, and then we showed other people's work. So sometimes you almost have to like invent it yourself too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Sergio's very good at it. He's very good at marketing and everything. And I
Yeah,
um even you though artists want art gallery representation, I think 85% of the artists in the world don't fit into that category. There are not enough galleries. So
yeah,
I think what Sergio did and what you guys are doing and what other artists are doing is another avenue. I don't think it just has to be you have to have a gallery representation because
yeah,
other ways you can get your stuff out there.
yeah. I
So
mean,
you're an
I
example of
also,
that.
I also believe you need to find like, if I ever open, like I'm thinking of art history, like some certain art dealers that made waves, right, in art history. Leo Castelli is one, like in New
Oh,
York. People
okay.
that have a vision, like a vision of like what the next art is, or
Yeah.
putting together like a group of artists that this person believes this is really great, and I'm gonna work my butt off to like
Yes.
really promote this and why this is important and why
Exactly.
these artists are amazing, blah blah blah, all of that. Like, so you need that, you
Yeah,
need,
that's what I feel is going towards. That's what I think is going to happen.
yeah. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I hope I connect with somebody like that, that has a vision of has had some background and knowledge about like art history and art and and then like can really hone it in to like represent a really like interesting group of artists. Like if I was going to be a gallery dealer, like that's what I would do. Like find these like really specific artists that I really wanted to, show their work and then work my butt off to like sell it, so that because I'm able to pay my bills, right? And
Mhm.
the artists to sell their work and that kind of thing. So it's tough, but I mean, I don't know. But like I said, like it's a goal of mine to like, I mean, it'd be great if I get gallery representation and they were able to sell my work, and it's a good good relationship that way, beneficial for both parties, so that
Yes. Yes. Have you
keeps you motivated making work, and then they're making money, and then the artist is making money, that kind of thing.
do you ever go to any of the expos like Art Basel, any expos outside of Illinois?
I probably should not confess this, but no.
No, it's a lot of people. I've been, but it's a lot of
I
people that don't. I was
It's
just
been
curious.
like seriously, like probably like, I don't know, God, 10, 15 years since I've been.
To Basel?
Uh, yeah, most of it's just because like I forgot or somehow I didn't think about it. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're fun. It's fun to see who's making what. And for me, when I go, it's always about like how things are made or painted or
Yes. And it's a
like
lot of art. Yeah.
like a lot of interesting things, and I mean, I like the mixture of the old with the new and all that. So,
Yeah.
but no, I haven't really been there, to been there in a while to like see what is being shown by these like I don't know, like these like really wealthy galleries or
Yeah.
right,
It's like the top.
people,
Yeah. Like
galleries and
two
things
different
like that.
worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't mean I wouldn't love to be, represented by them at some point. Maybe I'm waiting for it to be, to be in the show.
You've got to get out there
All right.
unless they knock on your door.
Yeah, right.
So
So
when you go
maybe
on
maybe when
vacation,
I'm
do you ever go to any galleries or do you ever check out the art in the area?
lately I've been making more of an effort, to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And also try not, I know again, like I could be I could live in a cave and just be in my own little bubble. And
You're talking to somebody that understands that. I'm
yeah,
extroverted, but I'm extremely introverted. People don't believe that about me, but I enjoy being by myself,
well, I think
especially nowadays.
everybody in my family, except maybe my 15-year-old daughter, we're my wife and I, we're very introverted, and so
Yeah.
we enjoy just being by ourselves. Well, I mean, we go out to dinner and things like that, but
Yes.
more recently, I've been trying to make more of an effort to get out there and to see shows. I mean, I just
Yeah.
recently went back to the Joby. It had been years since I've been to the Joby. I know
I
it's
haven't been
kind of.
there in 2 years. I used to have a gallery in there and stuff, but
Oh,
it's
really?
really changed. Well,
Yeah,
after you and Sergio, I know Sergio and real well, but it was really nice when everybody was there. But it's really changed now. I don't know a lot of the people because I haven't been back.
yeah, same here. So it was nice going back and
Oh wow.
see some friends' faces and stuff like that. So I'm trying, and
Gotta do
it's
that.
really after a long day of whatever teaching or whatever or stuff that you have to do, like, it's the last thing I want to do is go out, and
Oh yeah.
but it really is a job, it's really
Yes, it is.
something important that I tell my students they need to do. They need to go out and network and things like that.
You've
So,
never been to any of the top galleries in Chicago, like Richard Gray
oh
or
my gosh, it's been like honestly years.
yeah. I like
Um,
that they opened up their like warehouse show space that's on Carroll of the near west side. It's really nice.
I know. See,
Nice.
I need
Now, that would be a nice place for you to network, to go to those
yeah.
top galleries, about the five of them, to go to their openings. You probably could.
Where's that at? Is that West Loop or where's that?
It's
I don't even know where.
just look it up. It's on Carroll, all right off of Damon in that industrial district. It's a really big space. And they have their main gallery that's still in the John Hancock on the 90th floor.
Oh wow.
But that space is really nice. And they have a lot of openings where they have new exhibitions. You know how they have an open reception and you go. So it's nice. It's really nice.
Nice. Yeah, I need to do more of that.
And
I think I
Gupta
just
is
the
gallery.
last place I went to was Alma. Alma.
Oh yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
that? Iron Street Studios, I think.
Yes. Yes.
I went
I
there
haven't
and I
been
went to
there
the
in a long
Joby
time.
and the
Yeah.
Bridgeport Art Center.
Bridgeport is not, yeah.
Yeah, so that was nice, like getting out there and kind of, looking
Yeah.
at and kind of. But again, I need to do more of that. I
I do
can't
too.
just be in my bubble, and not.
Yes. Yes. It's
Uh,
fun in the bubble, but I have to get out more. I haven't been as out as much since the pandemic. I don't get out to the galleries as much as I used to. But now this year I started back trying to get out
yeah,
a little bit more.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, I need to do that too.
Well, thank you very much.
That it?
Letting me,
I'm
yeah.
done.
You have more to tell me?
Let me think.
You have any advice that you would give young artists starting today? Because it's a different world, totally different world
I
now.
think I think what I mentioned, that like don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, be happy.
I think that's across the board in society. You have some advice that you
What's his
can
name?
use in different areas.
McFerrin. Bobby McFerrin. Yeah, don't worry, be happy. Seriously, because I feel like we have some amazing talent sometimes, like at the university where I teach, and they're really just looking at the piece of paper. Like I need to get done. I have this piece of paper. This is going to land me a job. That is
Oh,
not
wow.
guaranteed. That is not
Wow.
guaranteed. So like I'm always of the point of like you should be like focusing on your work, like is this the best possible work that you can make? And if the answer is no, then like why try to rush out? Like stay and slow
Because
down.
you're going against the grain of
I
what
know.
our society teaches, which we're learning, and we're not there yet on that level, but they've got to get there because there's just so much uncertainty in today's
Yeah.
society. And I don't care what background you're in, unless you're, even if you're a doctor, but people don't, they're not getting that. They're missing that point.
Yeah, so I think that's like one of the things like, and I always tell them about me, like I was not worried about how I was gonna make a living. Although, I mean, I was living at home, for until I was like 20, I don't know, 24 or something like that, or
Well,
23.
you would fit right into the Gen X now. They
Yeah,
live
right.
on forever.
There was no shame. Why would I want to pay rent? When my mom's house was there and I can go full time to college. And why would I want to I didn't see the need for me to leave just
But your
yet, right?
mom was receptive too, because some parents want their kids out.
True. True. So I was not worried about how I was going to
That's
make a
good.
living and all that. Obviously, once I started college, then I was working on campus and things like that to pay, from my car note or whatever. But I was not worried about how I was going to make a living. I was really concentrating on my work, my art, right? And so that's like one of the things that we try to instill like in our daughters, like don't worry about any of that. Like don't worry about whether you're going to end up at Juilliard or not, or teaching or something like that, or not. And like focus on the
The
task at
craft.
hand,
Yeah,
right? You're
yeah,
practicing what you
process.
need to work on for this and that and the other. Um, and it's hard, 15-year-old, yeah, 15-year-old, right? They want to do fun stuff and text their friends and talk to their friends and all this stuff. And so that my wife's job is that like keeping an eye on that, make sure that she focuses, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
yeah, so it's yeah, like focus on the task at hand and everything will be okay. Because sometimes we get students and their parents come to GSU and they're like, what kind of they get into the BFA program and they're like, what kind of job will my son get or my daughter will get? And we're like, hmm, how do I explain this?
You
I'm like,
can't.
well, no, well,
Unless they become a professor, other than that's more a little bit if they can. Other
no,
than
no,
that, you
no.
can't. Parents.
Like, so my spiel to them is like, we're teaching them how to problem solve, how to be creative, how to be original, how to think, um, creativity, and those are like skills that everybody should have, so you might end up finishing your BFA, but you end up might work somewhere else, right? Get a job and regular job kind of thing. And but those skills are there, and they're going to help you with your career. It's not on once you do that, then you can find out, then you have to like ask yourself, do I really want to be an artist? And what does that mean?
Mhm.
Am I happy not driving? I don't know. What's a fancy car? I don't know.
Mercedes, a Jaguar.
Mercedes, is it okay? Like that never, for me, it was never like, who cares? I don't care what kind of car I drive, right? So like, how do you define success? So like, I
Mhm.
always knew that for me, it was about art and making art. And I had no clue what was going to happen, whether I was going to
But
sell
you're
it.
very comfortable with that. You're comfortable.
My father wanted me to be a mechanic, because he fixed his own cars and things like that. He was a laborer. He worked at like a oil refinery, and so but he was very hands-on DIY kind of guy. So he like taught us a lot of that kind of stuff, changing your tire, changing your oil. Like I can do all that stuff. Um,
I
so,
can
but
too. My father taught me that actually.
yeah,
The girl.
yeah, but for me, for like art, he wanted me to be a mechanic, and it's a very practical thing. We can
Yeah.
fix cars and things like that.
They
And I
make
was
good
like,
money too.
no, huh?
Yeah, they make good money too.
I
Mechanic.
see. Again, I didn't care. I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm gonna do art. And so he thought, he didn't know,
But
from his
you
own
say you're
background.
laid back, but you were driven. You knew what you really wanted though. You
I
didn't do
was
something
driven.
else. You're driven in the sense you stuck to developing your skills, even if you didn't think you wanted to be the greatest artist in the world, but you did stick to it. You didn't
Yeah.
deviate and go into other areas because you can't
Yes.
get that. So you were very
Perseverance.
driven.
Perseverance, yeah, like keep an eye on the, I don't know, prize, whatever that may be.
Yes.
Just driven to like get better at what you do,
Yeah.
and then
You didn't
yeah,
quit when it
so
got hard and say, okay, I'm gonna do something else.
yeah, right. So I don't know. I think yeah, I think at the end of the day, and this is like something I tell my students, yeah, it's like working hard, working hard, perseverance, not giving up. You know you can get better, and if you do all of that, things happen, opportunities arise,
Let's see.
doors open, and you're prepared. Like I didn't know I was prepared to teach. I was afraid to teach, but the door opened and I was like, okay, why not? And
Yes.
I tell students that it gets easier, once you stick to it and persevere and like, yeah, work your butt off, it gets easier, and again, things happen and doors open and you'll be okay. You can make it work. And this whole thing about getting a job, after you get your BFA or MFA, it's like, yeah, it's like if you're trying to teach, then you apply to different places and you set yourself up so that you have a great portfolio experience, whether it's teaching part-time for 10 years, like I have friends that taught part-time for 10 years and they maybe felt like it was a lost cause to like land a full-time job, but it happened, all of a sudden they got a full-time tenure track position. And all of that experience, of course, played a big role in that, so it's like like preparing yourself and just I guess saying to yourself, it'll be okay. I'm gonna stick it through and see what happens, and not giving up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. It was nice talking to you. And I don't know if I've met you before, maybe at the Joby or something like that.
Maybe I don't think so. I mean, I knew Sergio very well, obviously, when I was there, but I heard about you, but I don't know if I've ever met you.
Okay.
I've
Well,
always
nice meeting
heard
you.
about you. It's nice meeting you, and I always followed your work. But I told Steve, I said, Steve, contact him because I want to feature him in the magazine. He's like, okay, I'll call him for you.
Cool. Thank you. Well, thank you for reaching out. Yeah, again, I'm always again the recluse that the hermit that I'm glad that you reached out, and I don't know if I would have done it, or so I'm very
Why I
appreciative
asked him
for that.
because I haven't seen you in a lot of circles. And I was like, well, could you do it for me? Because I thought I didn't know if you were even accessible. So,
No, I'm accessible.
okay, I'm
Excellent.
going to let you go and tell your cat I said goodbye.
Thank you so much and have a great day.
Okay,
Well, it was great talking to you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.